And we're recording. Well, hello guys.
Hi, Tina.
Hi.
Hi Melanie. Hi
Hi.
Joy. Hi world out there. We have all decided to come on this Friday afternoon. It's the 8th of January, first week of the year. Hey guys. We, Melanie and Joy, are lovely life coaches, amongst many other things, and they work. They have trained in the Destiny coaching model. They're Destiny coaches, and they're doing all kinds of exciting things. But guys, we're all life coaches. Let's just talk about how we feel about the first year of 2021 and what's going on.
First year, it's felt like a year sometimes.
First year, yeah, the first week of 2021.
Everything's changed this week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were saying, like, it's what I mean, not everybody watching this is going to be in the UK. So, you know, people are all in different parts of the world. Just so happens that the three of us at this moment are in the UK, and we've just the whole country's just been shut down, right, into lockdown.
Yeah.
What are you finding that people are just struggling with that? And because it's not the first time, right?
Yeah.
We've been through this last year, but it's the first week of a new year. What do you think? What are you guys feeling about it, and what do you think people are feeling about it?
I think people are feeling a bit shocked and thrown by it, even though we probably saw it coming in some ways. But it feels like within the first week, so much has changed, even over the course of a few days. And to be working from home and not be able to see people, I think is a challenge for most people.
Who's your friend, Joy? Let's see.
Well, this is my company in my household. This is Treasure.
Right.
Who I got sort of mid last year, and who has been wonderful in lockdown actually.
Yeah. Do you know, I've got a lot of friends who seem to have got dogs last year. I think it's the time to do it. We're all at home, right, to be with them. That's cool. What do you reckon, Melanie?
Well, yeah, it's been a week. It's kind of been really strange in our house because we also both do other work as key workers. So we're both actually going out to work as well as being at home and working from home.
Right.
And school and how that's changing, and everything's online, but on and off. And everyone was tired. I think we were already feeling a sense of, oh my gosh, how much longer? And then to go into full lockdown, which is necessary, we get that. I think people just went, oh, not again. So in our house was a bit of, grateful that we can still get out and go for a walk, but it's been a strange week, not a bad week, just a strange one. Lots of change to manage all the time, every day something changed, and our parameters changed, and what's next, and so it's been a bit like that, but it's been good. It's been okay. We're excited for what's next. Always more.
Absolutely. I think after last year, I think everyone was hoping that we've seen the back of that year, it's a new year. But actually looking back on last year, Mel and I were discussing the other day how even in tough times, which has been, last year was tough, we actually look back and see that God has brought breakthrough through those times. And so I think even in this weird year, this week, even as things have been changing, actually we have hope, because God is always at work. God is never surprised by what's happening. He wasn't caught out by this, and he has good plans for us, even in the midst of quite trying, challenging circumstances.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I felt like God said that at the beginning of the year that it was going to be a year of fulfillment. And that's such a hopeful word, isn't it? Such a, and it may not look like last year didn't look like we thought it was going to look.
Tell me about it.
Did your year look like it? Yeah, we could ask you, Tina, because I think that's wise. I don't think anyone's year last year looked like they thought it was going to look, but that didn't stop God coming through on what he'd promised, in a way, just not in the way we thought. And we saw loads of breakthroughs last year, both personally and with people that we have had the privilege of coaching and encouraging. So so for me, this year is all about fulfillment. I believe God is going to bring some real fulfillment into people's lives.
It's really good.
Mine as well. Thank you. I receive it.
Do you know what's striking me as I'm listening to you too? Like, you guys are life coaches, so you know we're all life coaches. We're trained to kind of see the positive, right?
Yeah.
To shift our perspective, to look at what God is doing and not look at the circumstances. And gosh, how important has that been in the last sort of 10 to 12 months, and how important is that going to be for this year? And what struck me about this week of this year, because you know, like when there's a new year, there's, you know, usually you've had Christmas, you've had all the celebrations, and there's like a fresh, it normally feels like a fresh start, but this one doesn't, does it? Because it's just more of the same, and actually we've got to go into greater restrictions. And what I felt like, I just was praying about it, and I just felt like the Lord saying, yeah, this year's going to be an amazing year, but not the beginning of it. The beginning of it is like a continuation. It's like we almost like the first half, we're just gonna, it's that pushing through, it's that perseverance, but just how important it is for us to keep our positive pants on, as they say, you know, like those rosy colored specs, because it's so easy, isn't it, to watch the news, to watch what's going on in the world, and to forget what God is all about, the fact that he has the best. That verse, you know, he turns everything into his opportunities. All things work together for the good, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I love that.
And I think there's a real sense around, it doesn't mean it's not tough, and it doesn't mean sometimes the rose colored glasses, you know, if we're going to be real, there are times when it doesn't always feel great, and some of the stuff we're having to go through isn't easy, and I know, you know, many people are struggling, but knowing that God is with you in that, like he's with us in it, he's not abandoned us or left us, and as we go through the tough times, he's our hope, he remains our hope, and if we keep our eyes fixed on Jesus, who's the author and finisher of our faith. You know, it's not like you're going to just get halfway there.
And I think encouraging each other with testimony about what God has said and what he's doing and what he has done. So like the other day, you know, I think you said, Melanie, at the beginning of last year, God said it was a year of breakthrough. And for a lot of the year, it didn't feel like it until you look back and think, oh my goodness, actually, even when it didn't look like it, even when it didn't feel like it, God was bringing breakthrough. To encourage each other with that is really helpful.
I've put a couple of blogs out actually in the last couple of weeks, and to help people to process that, because I think this is where I think our coaching, you know, comes in just so valuable, because you can go through seasons like this and not really understand what God's doing in you, what God's doing in your life. But I think some of these powerful coaching questions that we ask people really help them to process internally and with God what the breakthroughs are, you know, what's happened.
Look deeper.
Look deeper. Now you guys are preparing, aren't you, on that topic next week? Tell me what
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Tell me what's happening next Tuesday.
We're starting the workshop, aren't we, Melanie?
We are. When you pause like that,
online.
It's a nice pause. We are doing an online live Destiny Activator workshop, coaching workshop for 6 weeks.
Here we are.
And it's if you're in the UK, it's Tuesday evening, which if you're in the USA, depending on which, West Coast would be like a late morning, or East Coast would be like a lunchtime type time. So so 6 online live sessions.
Indeed.
And what I love about the Destiny Activator workshop that you guys are running is, do you know, some people do it more than once because it just gives them such an incredible, is that what happened to you? It just gives them such an incredible, like, awareness of the season that they're in, and what God's doing and what's next and what the focus is, as well as all the other stuff, you know, like purpose clarification, all that kind of stuff. You guys were running this last year all the way through during COVID. What are some of the things that you remember that were really helpful for people to go to this at this time?
Well, it's interesting you saying that some people do it twice, because we had someone on one of our workshops that we'd met previously on a workshop that some other friends of ours were running, and she'd come back because she'd done one lockdown, and then during lockdown thought, actually things are completely different now. I want to do it again to sort of relook at where I'm at and where I'm going. But I think seeing people switch on and get some sense of breakthrough and clarity on where they're going and what God is saying, it's fantastic. And whether we did one that wasn't online, we did one in person right at the beginning
of the year. Last year.
This time last year, yeah.
Feels like years ago now, right?
Yeah, people talk about the decade of 2020, don't they? Yeah, so it's really encouraging and exciting.
So how does it work online then? Because obviously it's a workshop. So what does that mean? People are not just listening to teaching, presumably. So how does it work online? Do you want to tell us about that? Because it's quite different, isn't it, to other courses?
So yeah, it is. Well, it's a mix of things. It's a mix of encounter times with God. It's when people can turn off their cameras and just focus on their time with God. We use breakout rooms so that people can pair up and work through exercises together. We have some teaching, but it's a real mix. And I've been amazed at the way, we've seen God work in a room when we've run the workshop in person. And now we can sit on Zoom and still see God working. And it makes sense. Of course, God isn't limited by technology, but I think my perception could be sometimes that it could be limiting. But people encounter God where they are in their homes while we're doing a workshop on Zoom.
Yeah, and we do some live demos of coaching, and
you coach people in the group.
The group, so they get coached along during the workshop, as well as getting an opportunity to coach each other, which is really lovely. And just in those breakout rooms to just practice some new skills that come in handy for everyday life. You can use for yourself, as well as with friends and families. It's really powerful to be able to ask those questions that get people getting the answers for themselves from God. And it's not always, it's just so different from telling somebody, because people get their revelation. We have I was just talking to someone who did the September workshop, and they got a real revelation about where God wanted to take them in their career during the process of the workshop and what was next. And over the past 3 months, that is being worked out, and they're currently in a journey of stepping into something completely different that they felt God revealed to them
through that
already embedded in their heart, through that course in September, through the workshop.
That is so good to hear. That's another thing that I love about this program is it's really an accelerant for people. I believe that when people go on it, they're just cutting down the time to have to find the answers by so much, sometimes even years. I really believe that, because it gives so much space for them to hear God, hear their own hearts through the coaching. But also people are always commenting to me, like when we ask them what they loved about the workshop, they love actually meeting the other people and the community aspect of it. How, because the groups you run, they're not enormous. They don't seem that the community aspect of it. What's that been like with you guys when you've done these online courses?
I think what we've seen is people really supporting each other in the community. And wanting to catch up with each other. Obviously there's not a huge amount of time for just chatting, but getting a heart for each other and understanding each other's hearts and what God's saying, and allowing space for that and movement, but being there and being sort of present for each other in the sense of, look what God's done last week and where we're at now, and just going on the journey together. It's really powerful to go on such a incredibly intimate journey with God, and you're not necessarily sharing your heart with everyone, but just knowing that we're going on the journey together and God is moving. And what we've seen is each individual is met individually, as God always does, but there's a corporate sense in it as well, that when we do what you're hoping to get at the beginning of the workshop and what did you discover at the end, so many times people are just like so excited for each other.
People cheering each other on.
Yeah, they do.
No, it's brilliant. And you guys are starting one next week. And the other thing when at Destiny Coaching, we have a lot of people contact us and say, you know what, we'd like to have a bit of a taster of some coaching. We'd like to know what it's all about. And I always point them to this Destiny Activator online program, because they get so many hours of personal development. Like, you're talking about 6 sessions, they're an hour and a half, 2 hours each, on Zoom. It's not all just sitting. There's it's interactive. You get a workbook posted to you, all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't cost that much, does it, to get all of those hours? It's like 2 days almost worth of personal development. It's running at the price of the workshop at the moment is what? It's is it still at £120?
We've left the early bird on, yes. We have. New Year treat.
Bargain. So normally it's £150, but it's on offer at the moment for £120. You've just left it on to help people out during this period. That's amazing. Which is about what, $180 roughly, I think, converts. It's 1.3 times that.
If you say so, Tina.
So if you're not paying in pounds for this type of thing, it's roughly $156. That's better than 180, isn't it? So I mean, one coaching session or 1 or 2 coaching sessions alone for an hour would cost you that, wouldn't it, normally? So to get all of that personal development and the workbook and all of those different coaching exercises done, I think it's great value.
And you come away with plan, goals, there's some really practical elements, isn't there, as well, Joy?
Yes.
Around not just the heart, connecting with the heart and connecting with God, but actually planning and purposing and setting direction and coming out at the end of the workshop knowing what you're going to do next.
Yeah, I love the way it starts with kind of exploration, and by the end of it you're setting goals and making a plan to move forward. It's just such a journey of travel on the workshop, but it's also an invitation to God just to, I always find that as soon as you book in for something, say you're going to do something, it's like God's just waiting for that invitation to speak into your life, take you into a deeper level.
It's like a pilgrimage. He really shows up, doesn't he, when you sort of seek him out, seek his will out. I like the readiness assessment. Sorry, go on.
Can I just interrupt? Just because I wanted to say, when you said about tasting coaching, because I know that's the journey I took. Was I did the workshop a couple of times, and then I did the training as a Destiny coach on the back of having done the workshop. And I don't think I'm the only one by any standard. And there are many others. But I just think it's just such a great starter. So if it's something you're looking at doing and using the Destiny model, do just come along and sign up.
Get a taste of
it. It is a taste, because it's much deeper. The whole program, but worth it. I really encourage you.
Great.
Because it's been life-changing.
Yeah, I was going to say the benefit from it continues after the workshop. It's not just the workshop, and that's a great experience. I spoke to a friend of mine last night was saying that she did the workshop last January, and she had a breakthrough in terms of looking at processing with God, her desire for healing and seeing people healed just by being with people. And she shared a testimony of where someone had said to her, "What did you do? After I saw you 3 weeks ago, my neck was better." And it was like, it was nothing obvious going on, and yet there was a testimony of healing right there. And God is he's great. He's amazing.
He is good. And that's something that when I designed this program originally, God showed me that it literally, because it's got so much room for him in it, and it's really just opening up the questions and taking people on that journey, that it literally changes the trajectory of lives, and it opens up things in the spirit as well, because people are given that space to focus on them and to process them and discover things that God has put there in the first place. So
you were going to tell us about the raw will. You said your favorite bit.
I was just going to say, one of the favorite tools I love on it is the readiness assessment wheel. I know it's the kind of second half of the program, but I just think it's so cool that they get to go on this deep heart discovery at the beginning, and then they can actually see how ready they are, what, exactly plainly what needs to be done and how far off they are. And then off the back of that, actually set goals and stuff. So that's just one of the many valuable tools I think that it's got in it. But cool. So, look, if people want to join this program, you guys, you've only got one in the diary at the moment, haven't you, for next week? Tuesdays, 6 p.m. UK time. That's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that's
7 p.m. UK time.
Sorry, 7 p.m. UK time, which is 11 a.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time, and that is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
You're very good at this.
If you're in another country, you're going to have to look it up based on that. But we can put a link in this post as well.
There's a link on the Destiny Coaching website to book in with all the details.
And these lovely ladies are going to be running the one starting on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So guys, look, before we end this Friday afternoon go live, what is some advice you can give people at the moment who are, whatever country they're in, whether they're who are just facing more months of COVID, more months of restrictions, more months of having to push through? What are some advice, some hope that you can give them as to how they can do that? Put you on the spot now, haven't I?
No, my first one would be kind to yourself.
Very good.
That's good.
Be kind to yourself. There's that thing, isn't there, about self-care, and that comes in many forms, and it's knowing what moments you can get for you. What does that look like for you? And just being kind to yourself in the midst of it all, and cutting yourself some slack. Because trying to do everything you would always normally be able to do, or when you find yourself where you've got nothing to do, and then not feeling like it's okay to look after you in it, but it is. It's okay.
Good.
Take care of yourself. It's important.
Melanie, how are some of the ways you're doing that?
Well, I'm an extreme extrovert, so looking after myself involves being around people.
That's good, yeah.
So I have taken up a new role that involves me being
around
other people, and safely, obviously. I get regular COVID tests, but that's good. Just part-time to be, because I can't get to cafes and watch people, which is I love.
That's good. It's good to adapt, isn't it? And know what you need. Know those needs, those personal needs.
And getting out for a walk once a day, that's a big one.
Yes. What about you, Joy? What are some ways that you're taking care of yourself?
Definitely getting out for a walk. Having Treasure really helps me to do that. I think there's just kind of reminding ourselves that we haven't been here before. We haven't been in a pandemic before. No one I know has been in a pandemic before. And actually, it's like Melanie's saying, giving ourselves some slack, but getting ready to think, actually, this is different. I think, but also, choosing not to keep listening to the news headlines and to the
so good,
and all the comments, and I think there's a real spirit of criticism around in society at the moment, and actually choosing to not engage with that and just to look instead to what is God saying, spending time with Him. I know it can sound a little bit religious, if you like to say, get into the Word, but actually I'm really enjoying just picking up the Passion Translation and reading bits, because it just really inspires me and reminds me to fix my focus on God and who He is.
Yeah, it's good. I love reading the Psalms. They always pick me up. If I ever need to, I'm like, right, I'm going to go through the Psalms one a day, for a time to really encourage myself. Yeah.
I'm doing Proverbs.
Okay, that's a good one.
For January, one a day.
That's great. For
January, 31 days. And I think, I wanted to ask you, what are you doing to self-care? What do you do?
Do you know what? Lots of different things, but I bumped into a friend on the street yesterday. We had a distant conversation and I asked her how she was doing, and it just so helped me. She said she's up and down and she made this thing, and I'm like, do you know what? That's it. Some days you feel really good and some days you don't. And she said she found herself gazing into the bakery, looking at wanting to buy a donut, and she managed not to. And I'm like, look, I've got a Kit Kat wrapper here. So I think my answer to your question is, I think I've realized how important it is to just give myself permission to be where I'm at, wherever I'm at. And what I'm finding is the most important to take care of me is actually having time to process my heart and know what's going on. For me, I'm a journaler, but even that's been a bit tough, and God's like, just sit and just be and think and talk to me, and just so for me, I just think that heart space is what's really helping, and just giving myself permission to just be whatever I feel, if it's the up or the down, that's taking care of me at this time.
That's good, thank you.
Yeah. And what about you, Joy? What's your advice for people to get through this this next little bit? Anything more?
I'm just trying to think. I think there was a really good talk I listened to recently by Bill Johnson around focusing on the one thing, you know, and not trying to focus on everything. There's so much going on around us at the moment, and so much, and it's partly, I guess, what is the thing that is in front of me now that I need to
love
focus.
that. That's really good.
Yeah, because we can get so distracted by, oh, I've got to do this, but then I've got to do this, and maybe sometimes keeping a piece of paper beside you, so when you're focusing on one thing, other things come into your mind, you can write it down and then go back to focusing on the one thing, because otherwise I think we could drive ourselves crazy, you know, trying to get hold of everything, all the different things going on. So just trying to get that focus of, but also, who am I? What is important? What has God called me to? And what is that focus?
Yes.
How does what I'm doing fit into that focus?
That really encourages me hearing you say that, because I think it's also a bit of a symptom of working from home, because, you know, like we go on holiday, like we work from home all the time, but getting out of the home and out of the house gives you a break, because you haven't got everything around you work wise. But I think because we're at home all the time, it's easy to just be distracted, isn't it, constantly? So I think that's really good advice, just to be focused.
And also changing where I'm working at home helps sometimes. So sometimes I'm up in my spare bedroom, work focus, and other times, you know, I might get to the afternoon and think, I'm going to just move downstairs for a while and just, it doesn't, obviously this isn't always possible for everyone. I don't have a big house, but just to have a different workspace, a different view, just to leave some of the stuff behind in one room and, you know, move into another, just to give myself that space and that processing.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Great. Yeah. And my advice to people, I think those two bits that you've just said is really good. And I would say, do you know what, I'm not just saying this because this is what's happening next week, but I really think getting some coaching input, getting like going through the Destiny Activator program or something like that, or just asking yourself some of those powerful questions, which helps, I think, to just take care of your heart, and just helps you to hear God in this season, because it is unprecedented, and there is no ABC formula out of this one, you know, how to deal with it, what's going to happen. So I just think it's so important to learn to just hear God. And I think the coaching we do at Destiny Coaching gives people that framework of those powerful open questions, which we've seen it, haven't we? We've seen people ask those questions of themselves and even of God, and it just opens up his voice to them. And I just think that is gold in this season, really. And being around a professional coach or doing a program helps you to know the really big questions to ask that will get you what you need, the wisdom from God, you know. So I'd say that's a pretty good deal. Well, so thanks guys for showing up for this little go live.
Thank you.
I know it's a pain, because it means that you have to put makeup on a Friday afternoon, right?
Did you put makeup on, Joy? Did you?
Oh, good for you.
I put lipstick on, I'll be honest.
I have makeup on, but I already had it on because I ran a class earlier today.
Oh, lovely.
Well, anyway,
you don't look age.
I hope our audience appreciates our efforts from this being at home season, and please do comment on how beautiful we look in the comment section of this go live. And we'll see you guys soon online. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Bless you.
Bye.